G'day everybody, it's story time. Don't know if I've mentioned this one. Starting to do a few story times where I make sure I don't re-mention things like an old man and go, it's story time and stay the same story. We don't want that. But I want to talk about when I was younger living in Howell, and I used to go around doing chores. So back in the day, kids needed money, and even if the parent had money, they used to teach you if you want money to go out and get it yourself so you can go blow it in your own ways. And I used to like money and go out and do things and able to buy my own food and help my friends and stuff like that. And so I used to work for some money. And I couldn't always work for my parents, of course. And so I used to go out and go up the road and do odd jobs. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned a thing like that in a story of mine. But anyway, I don't want to mention that because it's screwing up this story time now. And one day, I used to see a friend all the time, and visit them all the time, and they used to stay in a place that used to be an old area for a church in Howlong, and they used to call it like the old mansion in Howlong because it had 6 bedrooms in it, and it's a big place with a red tin roof over the road from the church, just up a little bit in Howlong, and there used to be nuns that lived there. And the owners, not the owners, the people that used to stay there, used to talk about the story about the nuns and how they got told and all that, because you get a bit of a story when you go stay at a place. And that and some of these nuns passed away at the house. And in the front bedroom, it used to have a stage there, and it used to all be set up for nuns and church things that they did. But then it ended up getting rented out for people. And anyway, being there, I used to go over to the old church. It's an old style church, and you can go in at any time, and because it's unlocked, and there's never usually anybody there most of the time, I used to think. And you can do your prayers and stuff like that. And one day I ended up seeing that I went in there. I used to go in and out every now and then. Never stole from there. I know I used to think about it when I go in there and go, well, just leave everything around here being a kid, you know what I mean? You know, look, I can take that statue over there and that. But being a kid, you're not really into stuff like that anyway. And so, you don't need to take bloody pamphlets and stuff like that. But I used to think, being a kid, because you don't know about the whole innocent trust and all that, you understand that a bit older. But when I first used to go in there, you didn't understand that, and you go, well, I guess they're nice people because they trust. And I used to like that they had so much trust. And then I, found out all about the rules and stuff like that. And I don't want to get into the church thing because I've been in and out when it comes to churches. But I end up talking to priests, and I used to hang out with them. I always don't mind talking to church people. I don't hate them or anything. And I used to do chores for the church, mowed the outside. They used to need a hand. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that'll be like, so much money. And he'd be like, oh, I don't have money, son. I work for the church and all that, and we don't work with money. We have a card, and I can't pull money out of the card. It's a special type of card, so they do things right, and they just need to buy materials and stuff like that. That's what I meant him explaining to me. Don't know if they all do this, but this particular church certainly did, and priest. And he goes, I can go take you up to the shop and we'll spend the amount of money. Like, what were you going to do with the money? And I told him I was just going to go get some goodies and go hang out with my mates with it. And he's like, oh, well, there you go. We'll go up to the shop and I'll buy you your goodies and for helping me out. And we'll go from there. And I'm like, oh, that'll work. And so I used to help him out, and then he used to take me up the shop, and I used to go buy some ice creams and some junk and goodies, and then go hang out with my mates and stay at my mate's place and stuff like that. Did you ever do things like that when you were a kid, people? I used to do it a fair bit. What you doing, Stella? Good. What you doing? Stella comes barging in the door. Wasn't quite shut properly. Let me know in comments if you ever done things like that. Go get chores for extra jobs or help out old people and stuff like that. Because it's a good thing if you ever need money. I noticed as the years went by, as I got older, it got more and more weirder for people to go knocking on doors, and people were like, why are you knocking on doors and stuff like that. It used to be more of a, even when I was years before me, it used to be more of a common thing, but even when I started doing it, it was starting to fade out then in the 90s, the mid-90s. Things I'd love to see to come back and would promote if people wanted me to promote it, which I might do, about old things that, you know, it'd be good to bring back. We fade them out, and sometimes things do fade out that are good because we don't notice how good it is until you miss it. You know what I mean? But anyway, let me know in comments what you think of things like that, and if you like to bring things back. How do we do it? Do we start talking onto the internet? Do we send a letter to the government to mention about entertainment that makes us people feel good and what we think should come back to help us all feel good? Let me know, people. Bye bye. See ya.